Welcome to my world. Come on in and make yourselves at home. Welcome to my life. I know everything's gonna be all right. Welcome to my world. Oh, won't you come on in? Welcome to my life. It's known as the Tiger's Den. Greetings to all of my subscribers. I want to thank you for being with me for as long as you have, and the new subscribers that's coming on in. We want to say greetings and thank you for your time. This is from Toothless and the moderators. Welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. Hello, everybody. I thought I'd come on camera for a few minutes and let me put on my earrings I forgot to put on before I decided to come on camera. I like to try to wear my little earrings and look a little ladylike. I hope everybody is enjoying this Sunday. I did. It was pretty laid back. Today is my second oldest sister's birthday, although she's no longer with us. Of course, you know I have to pay homage to my birthday people, especially when it falls on a day that I'm on the air. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Go ahead, it's your birthday. Go ahead, it's your birthday. Go ahead, it's your birthday. Go ahead, go ahead. It's your day, go turn it up. It's your day, go turn it up. It's your day, go turn it up. It's your day, your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And many more. And I'd like to say happy birthday to anybody who's celebrating a birthday today or any day this month. This is my month, October. And if I live to see October 26th, I'll be 66 years young. So happy birthday, everybody. I'm going to keep up with the trending topics. As we all know, Gaither, she started out a 911 operator, then she was an investigator, then they said she was a detective, then they said she was a sergeant, and she's a retired sergeant, and now she's supposed to be a head of security for the Atlanta Hawks. And we have this young man, he's called the Black Law Student, who's been doing some awesome things. He's written to the judge, and he has also written to the owner of the Atlanta Hawks, and he has been given an opportunity to meet with him. They responded and they want to meet with him. So people want to know, how do we get change? That's how change is done. And it's a beautiful thing to, thank everybody that do what they do. But it takes a village. It takes a nation. It takes everybody to do their part. And one of the things we have to do as Asiatic Americans is learn to enforce the Constitution, because that's what it's all about. And in the federal Constitution, the most two important articles is Article 3 and Article 6. And that's because Article 3 talks about diversity, and Article 6, of course, tells us about treaties and the Constitution being the supreme law of the land. So those are the things that we need to start focusing on. And then we need to have our vocabulary right. But before you start writing and calling places, there is a thing that Noble Drew Ali, and he's the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, taught us. And what he taught us was to circle your emotions, square up your passion, and speak in an intelligent tone. Therefore, you must write in an intelligent tone. You can't use your emotions when you're dealing with issues. What you need to do is research the subject matter and then speak in fact. And that's how you move mountains, because mountains can be moved. And it can happen with one person, but just imagine if you had all of the people that tune in every day to look at whichever channel they choose. And I want to thank you guys for choosing to tune in with me. I want to thank all of my newcomers, and of course all of the ones that has been with me since the beginning of Toothless Tiger. I greatly appreciate you guys and all that you all do when you're here and when you're not here, because I know that you're looking at the video, and if you don't get to watch it, I know you're liking it, and I know that most of you will leave some type of comment if it's nothing but an emoji. And that's one of the things that we love to see happening, no matter the audience size. As long as we get engagement, that's what's important to us. I'm going to share a little joke with y'all. The other day when I was on the air, I was on the air for 5 hours, and I was showing videos, but the internet, and it looks like it may be a problem tonight. I'm showing weak signals, but it kept buffering, and that really gets on my nerve. But in between time and in the meantime, I was laying my head down, and I was kind of nodding. And so a friend of mine called me the next day and said, "Girl, you really did good, but you went to sleep." And I said, "No, I didn't. But I know I did nod." I said, "Well, I did nod." She said, "No, you didn't nod. You were asleep. You were snoring." So I laughed so hard, I was going to go and edit it out, but I said, "No, I'm going to leave it in there." Because it is what it is. And I am a very is what it is type person. Transparency is the only way to live. But I come to know in my 65 years of living, we're only as sick as our secrets. And so if you want to keep things hidden and you want to stay secretive, then just stay sick. And you may not be sick in your body, but certainly you'll be sick in your brain, because the mind can only process so much and allow you to feel based on whatever it's processing. And we as a people are processing a lot, and we're feeling a lot of pain. And this YSL case has really blown our minds. You know, we know and we talk about the mistreatment of our people in the judiciary, but we didn't really know because we didn't see, unless you had to sit on the stand or in the pews listening to what's going on with your loved one. But we are getting to see in real time just how audacious this system really is. And for those who are new to my channel, I talk about life and people because I came to YouTube to share me, my life experience, my life journey, my skill sets, my knowledge, my wisdom, my opinion, whatever you want to call it. I came to share me, to help uplift a fallen humanity, because we're all affected by what's going on. No matter who we are, where we live, we're affected by these type things. And the more that we see that we're alike as opposed to being different, the better it could be for us all. Now, there is a difference, and all people should know it. We, the Asiatic Americans, which are indigenous to this land, are told we're Negro, blacks, coloreds, whatever you want to call us. We're none of that, because those are what they call nom de guerres. Those are tags that they give us to take us out of the human family. So once you start researching and reading and learning for yourself, and remembering that you pledge allegiance to the republic form of government, not the democracy. But of course, in 1871, there was a coup d'etat, and then the democracy was born. The democracy comes out of Washington, D.C. The republic out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, because that's used to be the capital of our nation. So once we start researching and learning history and applying what we learn to our everyday lives, you may not see it change for the world, but I guarantee you your world will change, because your conversation must change. Your language must change. In order to affect change, you must change, and you got to do it. So that's why I always do talking and I do readings, because I want people to be knowledgeable of what's going on. Hey, babe. Hey, flesh of the gods. It's good to see you. Flesh say, let me find out. Y'all must go. And Maria, if you're still here, please put Flesh link in the chat. Hey, Jenny. It's good to see you guys. But I'm going to start out with silent weapons and quiet wars, because that's what we need to understand what's going on. A lot of people don't understand that we're under military occupation, and these kind of things we can't really talk about on a public forum because we don't own anything. But as long as I have a voice, I'm going to say what I can say until they don't let me say it anymore. Somebody would say it's misinformation, but truth is often guised as a lie. And then you can flip that and say the lie is guised as the truth. A lot of things that happen to us and a lot of things that we do, we volunteer to do it. We think it's law, and you know why it's not law? Because we don't read law. And they keep us from law. We can't give legal advice, so I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I don't represent anybody. I present whatever I need to when I need to. But we need to start looking at truth. You know, that unalienable right that we were given at birth that was taken from us when they took away nationality and went with naturalization. We need to understand that a lot of things may not apply, but there are so many things that do apply. You choose which one applies to you, because the law begins and ends with you. No one lords over your life. You give it to them. And that's what we don't understand. Just because somebody say that's the way it is does not make it the way it is. What we normally do is acquiesce, and we don't rebut it. And as long as you have a right and you don't claim a right, then that right don't belong to you. A lot of things that we're seeing happening in the YSL case is because of the de facto government that we have, and you can call it colorable law. And if you understand what color mean in the law dictionary, because you need a law dictionary, and I give them away free, all you got to do is email me and ask me for a copy of the Black's Law 4th edition and Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. This story is so deep. Noble Drew Ali said to the people, the half has not been told. If I tell you too much, it'll put you back to sleep. So I can only give you keys, and then you must go and do your own research. You don't have to take my word for nothing. You don't have to follow nobody. Follow yourself. But one thing I know about a great leader, in order to be a great leader, you must be able to follow and answer to somebody other than yourself. You got to do that. See, there are maxims of law, and if we don't understand what maxims are, and I've introduced you guys to them as much as I could, but there is so much that's going on, and we don't get it. It's two games that most Europeans played growing up, and most of us still don't have one to this date. One is called the game of life. The game of life. The other one is the game of Monopoly. So if you listen to the news, not today, but if you, most of you guys are not 66 or 65. Most of you guys are pretty much in your 40s, maybe late 30s, early 50s. But there was a time when the news on every channel No matter what time you turned on a channel, you could catch the next story on the other channel if you missed it on your favorite channel. Now all the news say the same thing at the same time, and we're not learning nothing. Most of us don't and can't read, so they put it in writing. This world is based on contract. And if we don't understand that even the Constitution is a contract, if we don't understand that the contract, both parties must benefit from the contract. If we don't understand that, then our concepts are wrong. That's why we have to study history and law together. I appreciate what those young men are doing, representing those guys. But I tell you this, they work for a bar. And when you work for the bar, your allegiance is to the bar. But they're giving it everything they got because they're integral. I'm not saying they're not human and don't make mistakes. I don't know them personally. But I see how they're fighting for those young men. And I know this because I know how hard my sister has been fighting for the past 7 years on a workers' comp case here in Texas. And I did the research and she presented her case. And I'm proud to say, a lot of people don't get to tell this story. They don't get to brag on this. But we went to the 3rd District Appellate Court in Austin, Texas. That's our capital. That's right up under the Supreme Court of the state of Texas. And she won the appeal. It was reversed and remanded. So when I had my federal defamation case for a guy who won't quit bullying me here on YouTube, I got as far as I could get. And when I couldn't prove that the court had jurisdiction, then they dismissed the case. But I do get an opportunity, another bite at the apple if I choose to. That really wasn't my goal to get. I thought I got $11 million because I got a default judgment, but that was just the clerk's judgment. It wasn't the judge signed off on it. But whatever it is, if you give it all you got, and don't fight nobody else's fight. Fight your own. You'll come out victorious. Every time. No matter how it come out. See, everything is not about winning. Sometimes losing is equally as good because you learn so much along the way. And then you have experience that you can share with somebody else that might be going through what you went through. It's about helping one another. That's what life is really all about. But I'm going to start out with silent weapons. And I want y'all to hear what is written in this book. It was written back in 1952, 54, left in a government computer and printed for the public to know it. I'm going to read about the artificial womb. You hear a lot of people talking about the matrix. The matrix is just the womb of a woman where all life comes from. So what they give us is an artificial matrix, or that's what they try to give us in the world. And that's why they feed us all this craziness, so that we can get comfortable. And some people self-medicate, some people gamble, some people shop too much, some people too much sex. Whatever your ism is, we all have them. Some people daydream, some people night dream because they never wake up. It could be anything. But the bottom line is, we have got to learn how to support one another without looking for something in return. Now, listen to me when I tell you this. A workman is worthy of his hire. And don't think that I don't want super chats and I don't want cash apps and I don't want memberships, because I want all of that. But that's not why I do what I do. If so, I'd have been gone. I've been here 3 years. And thank you, Cat Knott Williams. It is because of going in there and supporting others. She has sent people my way. And they've actually brought my numbers up to 1,800. I thought I'd never be on that close to 2,000. But I can see 2,000 now. I'm not trying to get too many because I only come on twice a week. I have congestive heart failure. And I don't feel like doing a lot of stuff. Wish I had some of the talent that you guys have with this editing or just fixing my screen the way I would like to see it be. But I'm going to go with what I know and what I have. And I'm going to appreciate everybody that come and give me a moment of their time, an hour of their time, however long you choose. I'm going to thank you. And I'm going to keep doing what I do until I don't want to do it anymore. And there are some days where I've really been overwhelmed with the things I've had to tolerate on YouTube. Never have I been so disrespected as I have on YouTube. But my son warned me, this is social media, and that's how it goes. I told him, oh, that won't happen to me, because I don't talk about what these people talk about. But you don't have to. All you got to do is be positive and live, and something ugly is going to come your way. So it's how you respond, not what they say. They can call you what they want. It's how you respond. And that's what it's all about. I want my people, and that's all people, but I'm talking to the Asiatic people, to learn. Hey, I'm just being me. I saw your note, and I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and respond to everybody. I want to thank everybody for commenting, and I do respond. For the last 3 months, I guess now, I've been in Korea and China, and that's on YouTube, because they have these little movies that come on, and I've been hooked on these movies. And one night I forgot about my own show looking at one of those movies, and I can tell you what all of them are about. They're different ones, but they have the same storyline. And one of the things that I've seen with them, where our children are all screwing at the age of 12 and stripping by the age of 16, where their girls are all virgins, and so are the boys. They're all virgins. They marry for money, for the business, so that they can build and continue to build. They don't marry for love. They may fall in love, they say, but they don't marry for that. So all of that comes from us as a people. Unfortunately, when we were colonized and split up, everybody took our map and they hit the road and left us by the wayside. And we're trying to find our way back. It's just a matter of choosing to do right instead of wrong. That's all it is. I don't really believe it's no bad people. I think people make bad decisions. Poor decisions. But that's just my belief. That doesn't make it right, because I do believe just because we have an opinion doesn't make it right, because sometimes we get it wrong in our opinions. And I'm very opinionated myself. But I'm going to start with the artificial womb. Then I'm going to show a little bit about Gaither, to show how this lady has no ethics. She violates every rule of conduct of any corporate entity. Then I'm going to show where I think she's Rico. One of the little guys that was on the trial last week before last, his name is Mr. Sledge. They call him Moontook or something. I can't even pronounce them words they be saying in Georgia. They have a language all to themselves. But whatever they call him, it wasn't him. It was the one came after him. The one that came after him was something with a D, I believe. And he was the one who had sickle cell anemia, which is a very serious illness that happens to Asiatics. And it's a very painful illness. And the life expectancy is not great, but some live to 50 and 60 years old. So medicine, technology, it does work. It's just, can you afford it, and do you get the opportunity to benefit from it? That's the question that needs to be answered. Whatever the case may be, he made a statement that Gaither was dating one of the guys who they deem as YSL, but he's not a part, I don't believe, of the indictment. He's certainly not with the 6 that is in the courtroom now. So I could have that part wrong, because let me tell you, I can tell a beautiful story, but I can't get it wrong. So if you know it's right, please correct me. I have no problem with being corrected. I don't agree to disagree with anybody. If we disagree, we just disagree and move on. Sometimes I can listen and change my thought pattern, but most of the time I'm going my way and you going yours on that topic. We don't have to part friendship, but we're not going to have that discussion because I don't agree to disagree. We just disagree. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to start telling you all about the artificial room. Then I'm going to tell you about this politics. I call it politics. At home, I call it niggertics. But in the world, it's politics to me. We keep talking about the left wing and the right wing when we only have one bird. And we all know birds have two wings, a left one and a right one. So if the head is running both of them, are they for us? One start the chaos, one come and pretend that they're ending the chaos. But the chaos starts with the head. So in our Constitution, we have the right to start our own government. But do you think that the gatekeepers would tell us that? No, they're political gangbangers. Black on black crime. Politically. Because everything is based in politics. Everything. Now, remember, there are words we can't even say anymore on YouTube because it's not politically correct. Sometimes you gotta not be politically correct. Or we can cuss as long as it's not 50% of our video. We can say anything we want to say, call each other all kind of names. But we can't talk too deep about truth. And that's on the Ferrilla. Let me see what Bay said. Okay, yes, Zachary. Okay. She said Love and the judge handled his medical issues in the most inappropriate ways. I hope he has some recourse. He does have recourse. He really does. What we don't understand is we got to start getting in there and learning just the simplest of things. It doesn't take a lot. I tell you, my sister and I have been in this fight for 7 years. 7. And she just won an appeal from the appellate court of Texas. And they had their second hearing since the remand in reverse. And she's waiting on the response. Because if they don't give us the response that she's looking for, we're going to go to the Supreme Court of Texas. We're not stopping. Not some at all. We have the right to address our so-called government. It's just, are you willing to put in the work? Because I call it the you factor. Anything that's going to happen in your life that you want to see happen, you're going to have to do it. And if you're not willing to put in the work, I don't know what to tell you. Because when you hire somebody to do the work, then you're entrusting them to do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. Now, there is a law that they won't allow you to present the case. And that's the one that's most important. That's the one that deals with heritability. That's the one that deals with trust, estates. That's the one how they're stealing all of our coffers. And that is the estate, the trust, the probate laws. You can't represent yourself in that situation, especially if someone should happen to be unalived and they have an estate. Well, you have to get an attorney because you can only present your case. You can't represent a case for somebody if you're not licensed. So, people talk about America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I say America, the land of the free and home of the slave. And until we start realizing that, have you lately looked at your insurance premiums and seen how they keep going up? And you ask them, how does it keep going up and I haven't had a ticket or an accident? Oh, well, we have to make up for those other people. No, they take a number. They call it a credit score. And if your credit score drops, then so your premiums rise. Yeah, it's a game. It's called life. And we don't know the rules. We need to learn the rules. So here we go. I'm going to go off camera because I'm going to be reading. And a lot of you don't know, but I had cataract surgery last year. And me and these glasses, sometimes we have a problem. But I have to wear them when I'm on the computer. So I go off camera. But I wanted some of my newcomers that may have come in or came by to see I am a human being. I am a person. I'm a mother of a 43-year-old young man who's absolutely awesome. And I do the best I can. And I give to as many as I can. I try to support and one day hope that people will pour in the support to me. But however it goes, just know I'll be coming here on Wednesdays and Sundays as I do. Sometimes it's myself. Sometimes it's myself and my sister. And sometimes my other people will come whenever they get here. But I'm going to keep spreading this gospel. Yeah, this is the good spell. That's what this is. If you take the information and run with it, because you got to do it for yourself. You don't have to take my word. Trust yourself. I do. If I have to bid on anything or anybody, I'm bidding on me. Toothless. That's who I'm bidding on. Win, lose, or draw. It's going to affect me either way it goes. So I have to go with me. Every time. Every time. And on that note, I'm off camera. The artificial womb. From the time a person leaves its mother's womb, its every effort is directed towards building, maintaining, and withdrawing into artificial wombs various sorts of substitute protective devices or shells. The objective of these artificial wombs is to provide a stable environment for both stable and unstable activity, to provide a shelter for the evolutionary process of growth and maturity, i.e. survival, to provide security for freedom, and to provide defensive protection from offensive activity. This is equally true of both the general public and the elite. However, there is a definite difference in the way each of these classes go about the solution of problems. The political structure of a nation. You see the word next to it? Dependency. And again, I would advise everybody to get the older dictionaries and look up every word that you read. Look it up. Look it up in the etymology dictionary, the oldest dictionary you can find, and then the law dictionary. Some words won't be in the law dictionary, but look it up anyway and prove to yourself that it's not there. So that means if it's not there, then they go with whatever the oldest dictionary says. The primary reason why the individual citizens of a country create a political structure is a subconscious wish or desire to perpetuate their own dependency relationship of childhood. Simply put, they want a human God to eliminate all risk from their life. Pat them on the head, kiss their bruises, put a chicken on every table, clothe their bodies, tuck them into bed at night, and tell them that everything will be all right when they wake up in the morning. This public demand is incredible. So the human God, the politician, meets incredibility with incredibility by promising the world and delivering nothing. So, who is the bigger liar? The public or the Godfather? This public behavior is surrender born of fear, laziness, and expediency. It is the basis of the welfare state as a strategic weapon useful against a disgusting public. Action, offense. Most people want to be able to subdue and or unalive other human beings which disturb their daily lives. But they do not want to have to cope with the moral and religious issues which such an overt act on their part might raise. Therefore, they assign the duty work to others, including their own children, so as to keep the blood off of their hands. They rave about the humane treatment of animals and then sit down to a delicious hamburger from a whitewashed slaughterhouse down the street and out of sight. But even more hypocritical, they pay taxes to finance a professional association of hitmen collectively called politicians and then complain about corruption in government. Responsibility. Again, most people want to be free to do the things, to explore, etc., but they are afraid to fail. The fear of failure is manifested in irresponsibility, and especially in delegating those personal responsibilities to others, where success is uncertain or carries possible or created liabilities, which is law, which the person is not prepared to accept. They want authority, root word, author, but they will not accept responsibility or liability. So they hire politicians to face reality for them. Summary. The people hire the politicians so that the people can, number one, obtain security without managing it. Number two, obtain action without thinking about it. Number three, inflict theft, injury, and unaliving upon others without having to contemplate either life or death. Number four, avoid responsibility for their own intentions. Number five, obtain the benefits of reality and science without exerting themselves in the discipline of facing or learning either of these things. They give the politicians the power to create and manage a war machine. Number one, provide for the survival of the nation womb. Number two, prevent encroachment of anything upon the nation womb. Number three, destroy the enemy who threatens the nation womb. And that's slash womb, by the way. Number four, destroy those citizens of their own country who do not conform for the sake of stability of the nation's slash womb. I think it's very important to reflect on these things as we go through this political season, as we look at these trials, and this is not the only trial, but this is one certainly that's being done so atrociously. We definitely need to have a public national discussion. Politicians hold many quasi-military jobs, the lowest being the police, which are soldiers, the attorneys and CPAs next, who are spies and saboteurs, licensed, and the judges who shout orders and run the closed union military shop for whatever the market will bear. The generals are industrialists. The presidential level of commander-in-chief is shared by the international bankers. The people know that they have created this farce and financed it with their own taxes, parentheses, consent, but they would rather knuckle under than be the hypocrite. Thus, a nation becomes divided into two very distinct parts: a docile subnation, great silent majority, and a political subnation. The political subnation remains attached to the docile subnation tolerates it and leaches its substance until it grows strong enough to detach itself and then devour its parent. We're not going to talk about the draft of the military service. I wanted to talk about the section that says the silent weapon, but we're going to let that go. That's going to be enough. Again, if anybody would like to have that book and don't have it, just hit me up on my email. I'll be more than happy to send you PDF copy. Hey, Phil, it's good to see you. And so that is that. Now we want to get off into Gaither, the man. And what I came up with Gaither, I want to go back to DK when she interviewed DK, because she did something that was very unconstitutional. You know, the Sixth Amendment gives us a right to a trial by jury. And we also have a right to counsel. And I want y'all to hear what she told this young man. Now, I'm going to play about, let me see. I want to find the section I want to play. Okay, I'm going to play about right at 3 minutes of this video. Yes, please. She the man. I'm going to play about 3 minutes, and I want y'all to hear, if y'all can understand what he's saying, her when she's telling him about his rights to an attorney. But I want y'all to hear what she's telling, which is so wrong. And of course, what hurts me to my heart as a mother, and especially an Asiatic mother, let me stop that right quick. What hurts me to my heart is that these young men all grew up in an area, as we know, that's marginalized, that's urban. That means that's very poor. Some of them had their dads. Some of them didn't have their dads. Most of them were a project. Like most of us, I grew up in the projects as well. My mom had 8 children. And I had a mom and a dad, but my dad was just like the Temptations. Papa was a Rolling Stone. So he would be in and out. But in the latter years of his life, he was more in than out. But he would be gone doing his thing. And my mama was working 2 jobs, taking care of her 8 babies. But a lot of these kids were put in what we call today special education. And they were put on psychotropic drugs. Once they turn a certain age, around the age of 13 and 14, they snatch them off of the drugs they've had them on since they started school. And then they start self-medicating. With that and living in a deprivated area, then they start making poor and bad decisions and committing crimes. So I don't excuse criminals. I don't. But I don't put them away. I don't cast them away. I think everybody should get whatever they deserve. But who am I to say what they deserve? Now, if they have to go through the criminal injustice system, however it turns out, that's how it turns out. And sometimes it's not so good for us. But we need to understand that it's a system, because we're doing this at the years of reproduction. That means if I keep you separated, then I'm not going to reproduce any more of you. When I'm scared as a European for my genetic survival, because I can't replicate myself, but you can. No matter who you lay with, they're going to become you. But who I lay with will become you if I lay with you. So that's what, a science story, in case anybody want to know. Check out Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. And I have a video where I shared her video where she talked about the ISIS papers And it was said by J. Edgar Hoover, but they will never have another rise of a black messiah, speaking after Malcolm X. That's what he called it. But I want y'all to hear what this lady said to DK. And let me see where it starts again, because I did the timestamp so I know. Because y'all know I can do a whole lot of stuff. I be preparing, and boy, I be so ready. And when it's time for my show, I done took everything down, don't know where it is, can't find it, fumbling like I'm playing football, like my favorite team, the Cowboys. I don't know how they did or if they even had a game. I don't look at sports. I'm just a home teams person. But I heard we've been losing, but I'm a lose, win, draw person. I'm a loyal person. Scorpios are that way. And I am a true Scorpio, October born. And we're a little bit different than a November born. And I'm sure they would say the same about us. But we're a little bit different. And I'm loyal to a fault. I'm going to start it at 6:57 mark, somewhere in there. But I want y'all to hear at 7:30. And I'll let y'all know, because I'll stop it and just start it back so you guys can hear what she says to this young man. But you got to pay attention, because, you know, when he's talking, and I'm going to take the music away, because, you know, on my videos I play music, so we don't want cross music. So let me take the music away for a minute so we can hear, try to understand what he's saying. They have a different way of speaking in Georgia. And I only speak English in a very little Espanol. Hola. Okay, here we go.
And so this is the opportunity for you to be completely honest with me, okay? I need to pull it together for a minute. I want to advise you yours. Okay. Do you know you have a right to remain silent? Do you know that any statement you may be used against you in a court of law? Do you know that you have the right to have an attorney present with you before you make a statement? That if you do not have enough money to employ an attorney, you have the right to have one appointed to you. Yeah. I have a lawyer, so I can calm down. If he can get here in a reasonable amount of time, while
That's the line. I want y'all to hear what she's about to tell this young man. He said, so I can have a lawyer. I want y'all to hear what she's telling.
Yeah, I have a lawyer, so I can calm down. If he can get here in a reasonable amount of time while you want to make this statement, absolutely. Reasonable to me is 30 minutes. Well, I got a call. I don't know. Well, what's your...
That ain't written nowhere in nobody's constitution that the lawyer has to get there in a reasonable amount of time. For the detective, the investigator, the 911 dispatcher. It's not written nowhere. But she told him if he can get there in a certain length of time. These young men don't understand what these people saying when they start doing their little old, jargon that they use. They're just doing the best they can, and they scared, and they caught with whatever they caught with, and they trying to go home. Well, of course, when you do wrong and get caught, you do want to get out of the punishment. But we do know that whenever you get caught doing wrong, there is a punishment phase. So I'm just going to play just a few more minutes, not many, and then we're going to go to the next one.
Your lawyer's phone number? I don't know his phone. My baby mom. What? I see what my baby mom got it. Okay, do you want to use it? I just went to court. I went to court for my open case. I went to court for my open case and for my lawsuit. And both of my lawyers who for my lawsuit and my case work for the same firm.
Now, he was in a car accident where he got messed up pretty bad, so he had a lawsuit and he was waiting on the money to come in. Mind you, the lawyer that he's talking about is his lawyer is supposed to be the mentee of Fani Willis. Now, his family has been knowing this lawyer for some time, he said. But this man was bragging that he was Fani Willis's mentee. So just look at this dynamic of what these young men have as a support system. A few more seconds and then we're over.
For the same, you find so. What's your lawyer's name? Jacoby Hudson. Jacoby Hudson. So I can call your baby mother and she can call me Hudson and give me a call back. All right.
Now, if y'all want to finish looking at that video, I do have it in the description. I have that link. But this was done about 5 months ago. And it's the interrogation video of DK. DK is one that my heart really went out to because I truly believe that, he was done real bad, in my opinion. The way she did that and the way they did all these young men. But I think he's maybe a little slower and he didn't have the ability to bounce back like the other ones because they all were put in those classes and given the medication. But everybody have their own whatever they're going through. Hey, Isaiah, I see somebody speaking to you, so I guess you made it. Hey. Okay, so that's that one with DK. Now we're gonna do Mr. However she go, I don't know what pronoun she want to use or what title she want to use, but now we have her talking about when she first came to Atlanta Police Department. Now she's gonna talk a little bit about herself, and I want y'all to hear what this lady says. She's the only person that I know that does not do her job, don't want to do her job. The supervisor witnessed her not doing her job, and she gets a promotion. And so that's why it's very important. I'm not one who believes in trying to take nobody's job. But my daddy taught us that, you don't own nothing at no company, and it does not belong to you. He said, if you think I'm lying, get your ass fired and see don't the desk stay there. So don't be sitting there hollering, that's my desk, that's my office. You don't own nothing. You there to do a service, you do your work, and you come home. That's what my daddy taught us. But I want y'all to hear this lady, hear out of her own mouth, give testimony. And this is definitely one that needs to be played for the Hawks. I think that if anything happened to you, you do it yourself. You do it yourself. And in any customer-oriented business, if somebody do something to me I don't like, I write a complaint. If they do something to me that I like, I write a complimentary letter. Because I think it goes both ways. The company needs to know. But let's see where we are on this because I thought I had stopped it. I actually have it played, but let me see my timestamps because I have a timestamp period that I want to play it. I want y'all to hear her. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to her talk for about, let me see how many minutes. I have it for 19 to 2023. So this is going to be about, I'm going to say right at 5 minutes. Let's listen to her for 5 minutes.
Outside of arresting somebody or investigating a crime?
I kind of learned how to work my day. I wasn't a fan of answering 911 calls, accidents. So I just kind of became proactive where I would get out in our high crime areas.
Okay, our old friend Buffaroo is back. Hold on.
Places where we knew people would loiter. I would just get out, talk to people, and if I was able to make an arrest, I would. If not, just getting to know who was on my beat and the beat surrounding my beat was really my day. And by doing that, that kind of took me away from having to answer 911 calls.
Now,
Sorry, Ms. Love, 1 second. Is your microphone on?
this one,
Yes.
it's on, but I think that the battery is dead. I turned it on, it's on, there's nothing.
What kind of
no light.
what kind of battery is that? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, you said that you spent a lot of time getting to know your beat. Was it your goal when you were getting to know your beat to go out and make arrests? Was that your main priority?
No.
What was your priority when you went out to know your beat?
Really, the priority was to stay away from 911 calls. I mean, just if we're being honest. So if that included, just doing directed patrols, doing drop-ins, which is my business on my beat. I would go into the stores, talk to the store owners. Um, the old guys sitting on the side of the building drinking, they give you a lot of information. So my priority wasn't to lock people up. I wasn't trying to be on I-20 doing accident reports.
All right. How long did you stay in patrol at Zone 4?
A little over a year.
Is that the normal time that a new officer stays at that level?
No,
What's usually the time? Is it more or less?
probably more.
All right. So did you get out generally earlier than normal?
I did.
All right. Now, what happened that caused you to leave patrol in Zone 4 earlier than normal?
I guess my supervisors figured me out and they put me on the FIT team, which is the field investigative team. It's plain clothes. You do proactive work. So
When you say figured you out, what do you mean?
they saw I wasn't answering 911 calls, so it used me in a better capacity.
When you say proactive work, please explain what you're talking about to the jury. What do you mean?
For me, just getting out your car, walking around.
Now, she said she did everything she could not to do her job. She didn't want to answer the phone. She didn't want to do nothing. She didn't want to arrest nobody. All she wanted to do was get out the car and go holler at the guys on the corner sitting on the side of the building and speaking in the stores. Now, could you imagine when she interviewed with the Hawks of Atlanta that she told them that that's the way she performed her duties on her job? All she reminded them of is she was a decorated officer, I'm sure, and that she got the whatever of the year. I know she didn't tell them people she was doing everything she could not to do her job, whether it was answering the phone or arresting people or writing tickets. She wasn't trying to do none of that. She just wanted to be seen in a uniform in the hood. That's what it sounded like to me now. I could be hearing it different than everybody else. But that's the character of the person that we're dealing with, that they're using as an expert witness who said she got out of doing her job faster than anybody. And perhaps they promoted her for not doing her job. Maybe that's the way they do it in Atlanta. I don't know. But that's what it sounds like. Now we finna go. Now we finna go to one of the videos that I did on her, and I called it Atlanta Police Officer Stories Don't Match in the United States versus Kenneth Copeland. And this is when, they talked about him and the weapon that was found in the bag, and they called it the police, and they came and took him to another part of the park instead of at the gym where he was with this big, big, big weapon. Okay, this is a case that Kenneth Copeland was trying to get some of that suppressed, although he didn't get it. But what I want to show about her is she showed up for one hearing, but when the judge said, wait a minute, something ain't right, y'all stories ain't adding up. When she was supposed to come back, she had left the police department and they didn't compel her to come testify. Therefore, his stuff didn't get suppressed. So that was purpose and intentional, in my opinion. And it also speaks to her character. So from everything so far that I've heard from this woman, not about her, from her actions, she is unscrupulous, of have no good moral character, ethics, or a code of conduct. Finna say I'm watching also. It's a weird miss so far for us boys. Okay, I guess we losing. They said yes, watching the game and getting a Tupus Tiger education. What a great day. Thank you. She did no investigating. Worst detective ever, decorated officer in a corrupt Fulton County. Yes, and see, that's my point about, is she Rico? Is she the man? Because she was sleeping with that lady, according to the young man that you put in the chat name. I don't got to go see it. Zachary. I can remember Zachary. So the other little guy, whoever his name with the D, I don't know what his name was, but he was the one who told Zachary a lot of the stuff. And couldn't you imagine him telling his auntie and auntie at night on the pillow or in the day whenever they laid down, having these conversations, and all of them young guys that they calling gangbangers and YSL, all of these people, can you imagine her taking those stories and then they looking on social media and then they're putting the story together? And as the judge said the other day, as if she said something great and she's the one allowing it to happen, she know they throwing this case together as it goes. These people have no strategy, and I'm not even an attorney. And I know that you're supposed to put a case file folder. They got all of these different tablets and all of these different things that they look up. You know, you should see one of the folders if I'm representing myself or presenting my case, because I've had to in several instances. It's going to be organized. And you know, you use a chronology of events. These people here are just haphazard. And when it comes to social media, I was looking at the Black law student, and somebody was asking, do we think that they have a team that's just watching social media? I don't know if they have a team, but I retired as a revenue officer from the Internal Revenue Service, and I had to do my own research because we prepared cases for our CID, Criminal Investigation Division. I had a badge, but I didn't have a weapon, and I didn't have arresting authority. I was the administrative end. I put the case together for it to go before them, for them to make a decision. And we did our own research. So, you know, if you was a person, we would just search the internet to see if you pop up. And if you popped up, we would go look at your social media. And we would use whatever we could use against you, just like what they're doing in this situation here. It's the same. So I don't know if they have a team that they hire for that, or everybody. It's according to the individual and your ingenuity and how you want to stand out from anybody else. You put in the work. And it's called investigative research. You put in the work because it's your job. And it could be your promotion, your demotion, or your walking papers. Bye-bye. Or you could stay in the same place forever. Yes, but it's a promotion for doing nothing. Exactly. So now let's hear a little bit about this Kenneth Copeland case. And I hope this buffering can stop, but you know, we just never know. On this, and this is in federal court. And I did put this case and the actual link to it in the description. But I thought it was awfully interesting how this detective came up into this case. And so you guys will get to hear and tell me what you all think. What does it sound like to you all? Because it sounds very questionable to me, her integrity and her honor. Hey, Texas gal, good to see you. I'm just about to read a case. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. That's one of Asatar's favorites. And she came to visit us. So thank you so very much. We appreciate you. Asatar is always trying to get people to come over and see me. And so when they do, we're elated. The only thing about when you do Texas Gal, a lot of people don't really know how I do things. It's just that I just kind of like people to engage in the conversation that I'm having. And we do that pretty good over here. Sometimes people don't, but that's what we like. And long as people don't be disrespectful, and then I know that's not you at all, but long as people are not disrespectful, I don't care about the other crazies coming in or nothing like that. We just try to learn something. That's all I try to do, is help people learn something. My mission in being here is to uplift fallen humanity to the best that I can help. And so that's what I try to find myself doing. And then I ran across the Young Thug case after seeing a lady that I love. She's called Liquid Concrete. And she covers a plethora of topics. So you can't just see her on one thing or another. And she's very thorough in what she does. And I found out about the Young Thug thing. And so I started watching, and I've been really just caught up ever since, how terrible these district attorneys are. And as we know, that it's not just Fulton County. We got to know that. It's all over. I just found out today that in Tarrant County, which is a jail, the county jail in Fort Worth, Texas, which is 32 miles from Dallas, they've lost 63 inmates, 63 since 2017, with the latest one being last week with a veteran who suffered from schizophrenia. And it is very, very, very sad. And his sisters want answers. And they tried to get him in a private facility, but they would not accept him. And so he ended up going to jail, and now he's no longer with us. And that is totally, totally unacceptable. But if we as people don't get involved in things that don't involve us, and I don't mean go and throw yourself and do something wrong, but there are things we can do, and nobody has to know. The person that you write to will know, but we can write to legislators, the state senators, the state representatives, the council, whoever district it is, and whatever person that can make or add any decision making to an area, we can always write. It does not mean that it will make nothing happen, but we never know if we don't get involved. And we never know when we may need to be big in the public to help us on something that happened to us. So I think that's very important to do. And of course, that's just one woman's opinion. You're no better or no worse if you don't do what I think. My favorite mantra is be yourself at all times, whoever you are. Be you, and to thine own self be true. This guy Woody is supposed to be one of their number one witnesses, just like DK was. They were banking on DK to really, sink the ship. DK to me came across credible. He came across as a young man that grew up in an environment that was full of crime and drugs and people calling themselves gang members, and he conformed to his environment. He seemed like he was a family man, at least he wanted to be, the best he knew how to be, because he really didn't know how to be. He started being the man of the house when he was a young boy. When his mama couldn't feed them all, he did everything he could to help feed everybody. And that caused him to do crime. I'm never a proponent of crime. I never push crime. We just have to understand it and try to get rid of it. And the only way that we can get rid of it is to give more opportunities to people. So this case here is very interesting because this is one of the guys they're banking on to really give them some information. And this is a crime that he committed. And here it goes. It's the United States versus Copeland. And then they give you the criminal action number. And here is the order. It's from Amy Tettenberg, U.S. District, United States District Judge. Order. Presently before the court is Magistrate Judge Russell G. Vineyard's report and recommendation. Future, they're going to call it R&R. That DOC means that's where it is on the docket. Recommending that the court deny defendant Kenneth Copeland's motion to suppress evidence and statements. Copeland's motion seeks to suppress evidence and statements that he allegedly made as fruit of his allegedly unlawful detention while playing basketball on April 28, 2015 at the City of Atlanta Dunbar Recreation Center, the Dunbar Center, as well as evidence in connection with the police officers' allegedly unlawful search and seizure of an H&M shopping bag found at the basketball court. Copeland's motion also seeks to suppress evidence obtained and statements made following his arrest on June 10, 2015 as fruit of the allegedly unlawful detention and early search in April. Defendant filed objections to the R&R. A district judge has broad discretion to accept, reject, or modify a magistrate judge's proposed findings and recommendations. And then they're going to list a lot of case law, and I'm not going to list the case law name. I'll just say in case law. Pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 636 B1, and that's giving the magistrate the authority that they have. It's limited authority, but that's what that is. The court reviews any portion of the R&R that is the subject of a proper objection on a de novo basis and any non-objected portion on a clearly erroneous standard. Defendant objections focus on numerous critical factual and legal grounds for the magistrate judge's R&R. Defendant also challenges the credibility and inconsistency of the testimony of, and I don't know how to pronounce this man's last name, so I'm going to call him Mercure, but I don't know how you pronounce it. But just for my sake and for reading, I'm going to call it Mercure. the principal Atlanta Police Department officer who testified regarding the search and detention in the hearing conducted by the magistrate judge. Based on defendant's objections, the court has conducted a de novo review of the record and motions to suppress. The court additionally held a supplemental hearing on September 28, 2016. Now, I want y'all to remember that the court had the de novo hearing, and then they did the supplemental hearing, and I want y'all to hear those dates as we read further into the case, because this officer Gaither, that has been the state's witness for the last almost 5 days, is going to come up in this document. Okay, it says the court additionally held a supplemental hearing on September 28, 2016 to consider further testimony from officers I said Mercure. I'm going to say Mercury, even though it may not be Mercury. That'll be easier for me because I'm going to be trying to say it every different way. So I'm going to say Mercury, and I know that's not it. And A.C. Hayes, as well as investigator Lakeitha Gaither. That's the one that's been on the stand, and I can't wait until in the morning because she's going to be the one that now we're going to get to cross-examine. We, meaning the attorneys for the defense. I'm not involved in the case. I'm not an attorney. I don't give legal advice. I just love learning and being able to help yourself as well as point someone else into how to help themselves. Officer Hayes was directly involved with Officer Mercury in defendant's detention and such, but did not testify at the hearing before the magistrate judge. Strange, isn't it? Investigator Gaither talked with or interviewed Copeland on the afternoon of his original detention, and when he was ultimately arrested on June 10th, 2015, she testified at the hearing before the magistrate judge, but, listen to this, y'all, was not available to testify at the supplemental hearing conducted by the court. The court also considered counsel's letter briefs submitted after this supplemental hearing, as well as their legal argument at the hearing. Those docket numbers are those just telling you those are the numbers that these items appear on the docket. So if you went and looked up that case in PACER, the federal court system, then you would be able to see the docket, but it does cost to look at those things in PACER. I don't know, maybe you can find them somewhere else where it's free, but in PACER it does cost. And you have to register as your individual self. The R&R provides a detailed description of the evidence presented at the original hearing conducted by the magistrate judge. Although defendant objects to a substantial range of findings and inferences made by the magistrate judge, he does not appear to object to specific portions of the magistrate judge's summary of the testimony given at the original motion to suppress hearing on December 10th, 2015. Nor does defendant object to the magistrate judge's description of the partial videos depiction of relevant events at the Dunbar Center indoor basketball team. Expressly object to the inferences and findings drawn in connection with these events. To the extent that the magistrate judge's account of the hearing testimony and videotape has not been disputed directly, whether in the defendant's original objections or in his supplemental post-hearing brief. The court adopts the R&R factual findings and description. That said, the court recognizes that significant factual disputes remain at issue. And this is very important. And I guess we'll talk about that after you all hear what happened. And then, like I said, you all can tell me what your thoughts are. It's a girl named Allie, and she makes very good videos. They're not real long, just clips of different things. And I love reading her description because she's always professional. And she said she doesn't pick a side or blame anybody. She just put the information out there and do thorough research to do so. And I think the way she words her description is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. Number 1, the search of the H&M bag and defendant's statement allegedly made at the Dunbar Center. A. Discussion of evidence. On April 28, 2001, 2 Atlanta Police Department officers from APD Zone 3, Mason Mercury and A.C. Hayes, and remember I'm mispronouncing his name because I don't really know how to pronounce it, so I'm saying it like that for my sake and reading sake, were dispatched to the Dunbar Center to follow up on an anonymous 911 phone call of concern, according to Officer Mercury's May 21st, 2015 incident report. The dispatcher stated, "There is a black male inside the recreation center in the gym wearing True Religion jeans, armed with a machine gun. The machine gun is inside of a white and red H&M bag." Magistrate judge's hearing on December 10th, 2015, and that's the exhibit. Both officers testified that they understood the bag to be a white plastic bag with red H&M letters on the front of it. Officer Hayes also testified that he understood from dispatch that the black male was wearing a True Religion t-shirt. Number 1, the gun ultimately recovered turned out to be a semi-automatic AR-15 rather than a machine gun. As detailed more fully in the magistrate judge's R&R, the officers met up at the Dunbar Center gym and soon thereafter spotted the only basketball player in the gymnasium wearing the True Religion jeans. Officer Mercury instantly identified this person as Kenneth Copeland. He knew Copeland from his beat to be a young man with a felony record who had been involved in a neighborhood gang and whom he viewed as on the top of the police radar, though not a threat to him that day or ever a threat to law enforcement other than in previously fleeing. And that was the documents that was done at the supplemental hearing. Mercury testified that he knew Copeland to carry a gun and that his senses are kind of heightened when he sees Copeland. So he gets a little antsy when he see him because he thinks there's going to be, I guess, an encounter from what he knows of him. I'm assuming that's what he's meaning by that. At the supplemental hearing, Mercury testified that once he saw Copeland on the basketball court in True Religion jeans, he kind of fixated on it. Hayes had heard of Copeland's name. This is where they're going to start getting into the lies. Before, but had never previously personally encountered him. Number 2, Officer Mercury testified that around the same time that he entered the Dunbar Center and engaged in his investigative follow-up there, he could hear dispatches indicating that other APD officers were involved in a foot chase with an individual who matched the description provided by the dispatcher. Number 3, at the supplemental hearing, Officer Mercury testified that he was aware that Copeland had just been released from jail the day preceding the April 28th event. However, he stated he could not recall if he learned this from investigator Gaither before the April 28th incident or after he had spoken with her later on that day. He additionally testified that he worked personally with investigator Gaither and that she was the person officers reached out to in connection with gang activity matters. The official transcript of the supplemental hearing at this juncture has not been ordered by either party and filed. Therefore, specific page citations cannot be given. Officer Hayes first spotted the white H&M bag in the bleachers and pointed it out to Mercury. In the course of Mercury and Hayes' follow-up on the 911 call, one or both officers handcuffed and detained Kenneth Copeland, inspected or looked into the contents of the H&M bag, and ultimately searched the H&M bag. After detaining Copeland on the basketball court, either one or both of the officers looked into the H&M bag. They then together walked Copeland out of the gym, with Mercury taking the lead and accompanying Copeland. Mercury placed Copeland, still handcuffed, in the back seat of his police vehicle. Mercury then placed the white H&M bag in the car trunk and looked into the bag. This viewing in the car trunk is the first time that Mercury's police incident report reflects his having noticed the buttstock of a weapon in the bag. Okay. One of the things I love when you're looking at these court shows, and especially when they're questioning the behavior of the police officers, their written report almost never reflect what's going on. I saw an interrogation of a police officer last night. It was just really, it's disheartening where you want to cry, but it was hilarious the way he had to take back everything that he had wrote according to what they actually found out and had video of. So it's amazing how they do that. Defendant's objections focus both on the R&R legal analysis and its related factual underpinnings. And I would say underpinnings. In particular, the objections challenge the inconsistencies and credibility issues posed by the testimony given by Officer Mercury, the primary APD officer who testified at the December 10th, 2015 motion to suppress hearing before the magistrate judge. Officer Mercury and Hayes both worked in the same APD field operation zone. Officer Hayes, who testified at the hearing before the undersigned but not before the magistrate judge, is a veteran APD line officer who, as of the events in 2015, had approximately 26 years of law enforcement experience and had seen thousands of uns. Officer Mercury, who worked with APD since approximately 2008 supplemental hearing, Officer Hayes' testimony was consistent with significant parts of Officer Mercury's description of their appearance at the Dunbar Center and detention of Copeland and the overall sequence of events. However, material relevant portions of Officer Hayes' testimony conflicted with the testimony provided by Officer Mercury. These material conflicts or related factual points are summarized below. So now listen to how the stories conflict. One moment, please. Number 5. As noted earlier, Officer Mercury testified at the hearing conducted by the magistrate judge and the subsequent September 28, 2016 hearing conducted by the undersigned judge. Both Mercury and Hayes stood virtually adjacent to each other, with Copeland lodged between them. Once he was detained on the basketball court, the H&M bag sat on the bleachers nearby. Mercury testified that he could plainly view the contents of the H&M bag through its open top. When he stood nearby it after detaining Copeland. In contrast, Hayes testified that the H&M bag was not open at the top, but instead that the top of the bag was folded over and its contents were neither clear nor visible. According to Hayes, nothing from how the bag sat on the bleachers indicated what was in the bag. Like Mercury, Hayes mentioned that when he walked closer to the bag, he could observe a shape to it because of its contents. Specifically, Hayes stated that a point was protruding towards the sides of the bag. However, Hayes testified that he could not identify the item as an UN from his visual observation of the bag. The court notes that Hayes stood in the same proximity to the bag as Mercury, or closer at some juncture. Hayes stated that after Copeland was detained, Hayes, personally recovered the H&M bag himself and opened the bag and took a quick glimpse of what was inside. But even at that point, he said he could not definitively identify as a UN the item with a piece of black rubber handle and tan metal that he could see then. At that point, Hayes stated he could principally view the Christmas ornament stuffed in the bag and did not have a full view of what was later ultimately identified as the UN. Mercury testified that when he inspected the bag on the bleachers prior to exiting the gym, it was already open and that he could lean over the bag and see inside the bag, and that it was loaded with Christmas ornaments and the UN was just kind of sitting straight up in and you could see the weapon. Mercury testified that Mercury, was the one who collected the H&M bag and that he then proceeded to take the bag to his police vehicle. By contrast, Hayes testified that once Copeland had been detained and was standing with Mercury in front of the bleachers, Hayes himself went into the bleachers in front of them, recovered the H&M bag, opened and took a quick peek into the bag, and then closed the bag anew before they left the gym together. Hayes testified that he himself took the gun out of the gymnasium. Supplemental hearing. Oh, and I said the UN. Oh, well, it's in the report. I tried. Hayes testified that as best he could recall, Mercury had not looked at the bag before Hayes had physically presented him with the bag outside the Dunbar Center, except to the extent that Hayes had confirmed the bag's presence to Mercury as they had stood in front of the bleachers as they scanned the basketball area to identify a player wearing the True Religion jeans identified by the 911 tip call. If Hayes' testimony is accurate, then Mercury's testimony that he stood over the bag and could see its content when he collected the bag to take it outside is obviously less likely to be true or accurate, and vice versa. Mercury testified at the initial hearing that when Hayes and he were standing next to Copeland and in front of the bleachers, he asked the crowd in the bleachers pretty loudly in a sarcastic kind of way whether the bag belonged to any of them. Mercury testified that while a few people shook their head no, Copeland provided no response. On the other hand, Hayes testified that he could not recall hearing any conversation about the H&M bag that occurred between the officers and the people in the bleachers and basketball area. That was at the supplement hearing. As noted above, Hayes testified that he personally carried the bag out of the gym, while Mercury testified he carried the bag out of the gym at the supplement hearing. And remember, Hayes didn't make it to that hearing. The conflicts in testimony discussed above give the court serious pause, as Officer Mercury's police incident report, prepared close in time to April 28th events, if read alone by itself literally, would indicate that Officer Mercury first viewed the contents of the H&M bag when he placed it in the trunk of his car. Magistrate Judge's hearing. The magistrate judge credited the credibility of Officer Mercury's testimony that referenced his viewing the actual contents of the bag earlier in the Dunbar Center based on his testimony given at the hearing he conducted. But the magistrate judge did not have the benefit of hearing Officer Hayes' testimony in reaching his findings. Number 6, nor did the magistrate judge hear Officer Mercury add other arguably inconsistent bits of information in his testimony at the supplemental hearing, including his assertion initially that he could see the trigger guard of the weapon rather than just the buttstock, as he had testified to at the first hearing, though he later withdrew that assertion upon further questioning. Finally, the court was disturbed that although the police department collected the videotape of the events at the Dunbar Center on a timely basis when the entire tape was available, officers only secured, for whatever reason, a videotape that cuts off precisely prior to the search of the H&M bag conducted by one or the other of the officers, and the officers' removal of both Copeland and the H&M bag from the center. One of the last video images showing Officer Mercury looking at the H&M bag. Supplemental hearing testimony of Officer Mercury regarding the video after it was projected in the court. While the court understands that the video was obtained first and foremost as proof of the identity of the individual who brought the H&M bag into the recreation center, the police officers involved in the investigation knew this matter was under an investigation that might likely lead to criminal charges. The court therefore finds it odd that these last relevant minutes of the events in the recreation center were not apparently recovered or preserved. Ain't that something? B, findings and analysis. Number 1, evidentiary finding and reasonable suspicion. The court finds that the testimony of Officers Mercury and Hayes cannot be reconciled with respect to their handling of the H&M bag and viewing of the bag and its contents, the evidentiary landscape of this portion of the case, at the very least, significantly changed after the court conducted its supplemental hearing. While defendant bears the burden to establish the legal and factual basis for his motions to suppress, the government still must prove that a warrantless search was reasonable because based upon a recognized exception to the warrant requirement, and that's United States v. Harris. And then they give you some other case law that you can look at. And that's basically how most courts make their decision, based on their interpretation of the law and then case law that's relative to whatever case that they're listening to. That's what you come to know, and probably by now everybody knows that. One moment. Basically, what I wanted y'all to hear in that, was kind of at the beginning. I didn't have to read the whole case, but basically, what I wanted y'all to hear is how Gaither showed up at the beginning, but when it was time for them to come back, because the judge found some inconsistencies in their stories, just so happened she wasn't available, which is what happened kind of in this situation. She wasn't available. So it's amazing how she cannot be available, but they're subpoenaing people and then issuing warrants for their arrest to show up to be a witness in their case. Just unbelievable. Thank you so very much, Flesh. I appreciate you for being here. Okay, so now we're going to go to a little bit of I think her name was Antrivia or something like that. She's the young lady that was being harassed by the officer. We're just going to listen to a little of that because I have a clip from Law and Crime that I'm going to play some of the big moments in the trial. And so I want to add this. I don't know if she's in there or not, but I want to add this because this was one of the videos that I did on Fani Willis when she was clashing with the subpoena that she refused to answer to. So, yes, Miss Bennett. So, yes, I wanted y'all to hear just a little of her testimony, Miss Bennett. So, here we go. And let me say this to Flesh before you go. I love, love, love your screen. I was tripped out when I saw the smoke coming off the blunt the other night. I just couldn't believe it. I love your characters. I haven't seen those. I just kind of caught a couple of your lives that I thoroughly enjoyed the way you put your videos together. I'm a great complimenter and an encourager. I don't envy people for nothing they do because, see, my mama taught us growing up, envy no one for what they have because you might not be willing to pay the price for what they have. So I can't have no envy in me because it's a whole lot of shit I see people do. I'm not going to be able to do that. Don't have funds to pay nobody to do it for me. And I just don't have the inclination or the mindset. I have to want to do something in order for me to do it because I believe there is nothing in this life I can't do. But because I don't have the mindset and now my health don't allow me to do a lot. My daddy used to tell us to do things yet while you're able because the time is going to come one day when you're not going to be able. It could be either financially or physically. And so for me, it's both. But I can't get with this technology. But I love, love, love your work. You guys have some beautiful stuff out here in this YouTube land. And you got a rap song that you be playing. I don't know if that's you or not, but it sure sound good. I heard it the other night. And I think it was talking about the judge. I don't know, but it sound good. That's all I know. But, I'm a complimenter. Again, I'm a Scorpio, so I don't know no other way to be. I'm very transparent and as open as I know to be. And I talk a little shit every now and then. But I try to be intellectual when I'm on this screen because we're going out before the world. And they already know how we can talk and sound when we putting each other down. I like to try to lift each other up and let them see something a little bit different. But here you go. I just want to say that before you left us. And let me go on and play Miss Bennett.
Not that I recall.
You earlier said that, or referenced when you spoke to me, when you and I spoke the first time, did you tell me about some things that you had gone through?
Yes.
Did you tell me essentially that the state had let you down?
Mr. Short, I'm gonna overrule your objection.
Did you tell me essentially that the state had let you down in a number of ways?
No, when I talked to you, that's like the first time I talked to the state.
And when you say the state, are you talking about the district attorney's office?
Or unless you stating like me being locked up and stuff, and I told you that, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Now, why would that lady ask her that question when they represent themselves as the state? Which we know the state cannot be, for the simple reason as the state only exists on a piece of paper. We deal with human beings, but unfortunately, we're so uneducated or miseducated, we don't understand that corporate entities are artificial people. They're fictions. They're not real. Just like when you go and look up the color of law, it's a semblance of something that is real, but it's artificial. So we have to know these things so we can understand why when we go to court, we can't just speak out unless we're coming pro per or in propria persona in our own selves. But you have to do everything in writing. But it's a secret. But everybody is talking about it these days. And unfortunately for us, most of us won't listen to each other tell them the truth. They have to hear it from somebody else, from somewhere else, before they'll believe anything you say. But I ask you to research for yourself. Never take my word for it. Because that's what the person that I learned from, Tosh Tariq Bey, that's what he taught me. He dropped keys, and then I did the work. And if you go to the Library of Congress, you can find pretty much everything he's speaking on in the Library of Congress. So I just suggest that if you're interested in anything, go check it out. Don't take my word for it. Prove me right, prove me wrong, prove whatever you need to prove. But just do the work. That's all I ask.
Yes.
And you spoke to me, or did you speak to me about getting some tragic information while you were locked up?
About when I was locked up? Yes.
And did that cause you to have any feelings of resentment towards the state?
I'll overrule the objection, Mr. Matthews. I'll make it a continuing objection. Overrule, sir.
You repeat it?
Did what happened to you have an effect on you and your feelings towards the state?
Yes.
How did they affect your feelings towards the state?
Overrule, sir.
Can anybody explain to me how can you have a fair and equitable trial when the judge overruled everything? I mean, his word is just overrule, sir. Overrule, 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 overrule. It's a reason they're doing all of this. In my opinion, like I said, my profession that I came from, we were taught to follow the money. All of this has to do with the orca money. Orca, named after the killer whale, is a big pot of money that they got behind C-19. All states in this United States got it. Because I don't know if everybody understands that all states are their own country. And the way that you can know that by the constitution of each state. And each state does not have to honor the laws of another state, but they do have a treaty that allows them, if they so choose, to honor. That's where extradition and stuff come in. We don't even know. Well, I didn't know nothing about no treaties until I started studying 12 years ago. Who were we before we were called slaves? The only treaties I knew was on the cowboys and the Indians, and the treaties that nobody ever kept, especially not the cowboys. Until I learned that most of the cowboys look like me. And see, another thing, we don't want to admit that we're dirty just like other people. Everything is not the European. These people are the gatekeepers, the one that keeps us stuck at the cattle guard. And I explained for those who don't know what a cattle guard is the other day. It's where when you're leaving the property of the farmer, you're hitting the county road, whatever the public access is, where there is a guard there where they have planks with spaces in between the planks. And they call it a cattle guard to keep the cattle from crossing going onto the public plain. So they keep us right here on the farm while they do everything they can for their children, make their lives easy. Look at Fani Willis. Not too long ago, she and Nathan Wade was in a county talking about she's the DA for her daughter who has a DUI. I wish no harm to that young lady, and I hope if she has an issue with alcohol that she would get help. Because one thing I know about alcoholics and drug addicts, no one can deem you alcoholic but you. Because there is an imaginary line that one must cross, and only that one can know it. So everything comes with a pathology. Everything comes with a history. And you have to do the timeline so you can put your hand on the root cause of an issue before you can ever solve one. And what they have done is muddied the water so we can't come up with the timeline. But trust me, the timeline is there. It's written so that we can know, but we won't read. And that keeps us in the very condition that we're in right now. I would ask everybody to write a complaint that have an issue with what's going on in that courtroom. And you can write a complaint to the Georgia Bar, GABAR.org, file a complaint. And the black law student, I heard him tonight say he starts with the judicial system, Department of Justice. You can always write to the Department of Justice. He write to the Supreme Court. Because when you're not a part of an organization, you want to start at the top. Because if you want to get rid of a snake, what do? Cut the head off. If not, it's going to just remake itself. Cut the tail and see what happens. Peel the skin and see on some more come. We got to get strategic and get back to using our own brain to think and quit allowing people to influence the way we think. Well, we're going to always be influenced by something, but we have enough tenacity inside of us, each one of us, where we can pave our own way and quit self-doubting. Intuition is the best gift you've been given. act on it. I have a AAA. It's called acknowledgement, acceptance, and action. And when you do those three things, life begin to change for you, no matter what your condition is. You got to acknowledge your present situation, accept it as being what it is, and then take action to make it different. And let's go back.
Mhm. It just made me feel like, like they weren't trustworthy.
I'm sorry that you made it feel that way. When was it that you were?
I'm going to object and ask that last statement from the statement stricken. That's an vote.
I'm a overrule the objection, Mr. Adams.
Ms. Bennett, when was it that you were locked up, as you just referenced? What year?
2013, 2015 to 2017.
In 2015, is that when you went to the Department of Corrections?
Yeah, I went to prison.
In 2013, were you in prison?
Now, none of that has to do with this case. I want y'all to know that. This is her witness. And she brought her on here. For what reason? Because she's not answering the way she wants her to answer. Now she's going to destroy her character and her credibility. But that's only to people who don't see growth. That lady today is not who she was back then. She may not be on a $100,000 a year job, but she's not selling drugs or any of that today. And that was totally unnecessary. Just in my opinion. And I know that she's doing everything she can to get this prosecution, but you should not violate the rule of law, the letter of the law, the spirit of the law to get a conviction. All of those have meaning. And it would be a sad thing if you want to be a witness and you turn out to become the villain in the case. And that's what she's doing, is villainizing this woman. They do that well. I'm going to say in Fulton County DA's office.
No, I was in Clayton. I think Clayton.
In 2013, were you out on bond for charges in Clayton?
I can't remember if it was Clayton or Fulton.
I'm going to show you what I will have marked as State's Exhibit number 28 Alpha. And I'll ask you to take a look at it. And I'll ask you if this copy of documents from Clayton County, Mr. Adams, you want to refreshes your recollection. On May 12th, 2013, Mother's Day, did you own a firearm?
We heard her, so now we're going to go to the others, and I'm going to be getting ready to close out. Y'all don't realize it, but for real, I'm addicted to these Chinese and Korean movies. And I see what they're saying, although it makes no sense because they're the ones who allow it. So they just another way to pit us against one another. of how they want to take them down on TikTok here in America because they say the difference in what they show their people. But so what they did, they said, okay, we'll come to YouTube. First, they was going to those channels where you had to pay for a chapter and pay for a chapter. And now they have the little movies, and I love them because I see what we don't understand as a people. All of these people who's claiming culture and customs, they got it from us. If we are the original people, we got to know that we set the standard for everything. But all of us were not good people. And we're still not. Selling each other out by the dozens. Just on YouTube. You come here with high hopes. I did. Great ideas. Supporting everybody. One person I gave over $700 in 6 months. He turned against me because I started getting some subscribers. Called me a liar, and everybody in the sector quit coming to my chat. But that don't stop me. You see, you can't embarrass me with nothing that I share. You can't talk about me with nothing that I show. You can do it, but it don't mean nothing because I can handle me for real, though. Been doing it for 65 years. I ain't no fighter. Had 3 fights and lost all 3. All 3. And I used to think I had a good ass whooping left in me for somebody. But with this congestive heart failure, not. I don't have it. I was born with a 3rd-degree heart block and didn't find out until after I gave birth to my only child, who's 43. But having a pacemaker since I was the age of 23, that's a long time, it weakened my heart. So not only do I have a 3rd-degree heart block with the pacemaker, I also have congestive heart failure. And I smoke Cool Filter Kings. But when I started smoking, I didn't have no idea that I had heart trouble. I found that out after I was addicted. And I am addicted. Don't like the smell and sometimes don't like the taste. But that nicotine, it gets me, and I like that. So I don't promote that for nobody in America. That's just what I do. And I have to do that to keep my sanity sometimes. Because sometimes life gets a little rough. And sometimes when everybody comes to you for help, you have no one to go to. And it's very, very, very taxing sometimes. But I wouldn't trade being me for nobody in the world. I just wouldn't do it. If I had $1 trillion, I would be broke because I'd give it away. I believe in supporting people and encouraging people. People I know that have music that's streaming, I go by their music. I met some little guys out of Baltimore. I went to Atlanta a few years back, my first trip for my birthday, and I met these little guys. They had a big convention there, and they got music. They're on IG right now, and I bought all of their music, the ones that I met. And they doing their thing right to this day. And we all say hello to each other. It's a beautiful thing when you can live life not worrying about other people, but doing your thing. But it doesn't mean you don't want things. A workman is worthy of their hire. But you take what you can get. And you do what you do. And what's due you will come to you if you reach for it. So I'm all right. It's just sometimes I get to thinking about us as a people and how we do. There's no way we should have more collaborations making money on this YouTube. There's no way we shouldn't be doing that. Everybody shouldn't have to talk about the other one or their dead mother or a relative or make fun of their molestation. Everybody shouldn't have to do that to get no cash apps and no super chats. And going to other sectors, I see that people don't do that and they get paid. Just tell your story. That's all you got to do. And we all have one. Everybody. I learned from a movie that Sylvester Stallone did, and I tell this to any young person that I meet. No matter what, DTA. Don't trust anyone, including me. If my actions don't show you and tell you who I am, then Houston, you have a problem. The way you build trust and loyalty is the way that the relationship that you think you have with people are reciprocated. And I find myself forgiving people before they even ask for it. Matter of fact, some of them never ask for it, but they're going to be forgiven because I forgive me. And that's the first person you should forgive. If you're ever going through something, please stop and take some time and forgive yourself. Love on yourself, no matter who you are. They call me big, fat, bald head, no teeth. I came here toothless tiger. I got $1,800 dentures. I choose not to wear them. I really do. I started out a brick. Then I moved to a brick house. Then I moved to a mansion. And now I'm a whole damn plantation. So there ain't nothing they can say about the way I look. My hair, if I let it grow, come to my shoulders. But it started balling in the top, and I don't do wigs and weave. So I cut it all off because I'm just that girl. When I see me in a mirror, I'm just like Prince. I'm looking at the most beautiful girl in the world. I don't compare myself to no one. Nor do I compare anyone to me. I appreciate. And I talk about people. So let's understand that. Talk about people. Everybody I know, good, bad, or indifferent. I just live life without trying to harm people. And that's the common law. If I don't harm you and you don't harm me, no harm is done. All of these statutes and articles and things that they use against us in these kangaroo courts, those are just Christian black codes. And they codified them and gave them some names and some numbers. But they're written so we can know them. I would suggest that everybody go to their state, go to your website and find out for your state what are the civil rules of procedure. What are the rules of evidence? Bookmark them. And then every now and then read them. You don't have to read them all at the same time. Go and do the same thing with the federal codes of procedure. And there's plenty of them out there. But you would be surprised what you would learn. A lot of things we think is law is not law. It's not. It's called volunteerism. 13th Amendment. You will never be a slave again unless you volunteer or commit a crime. That's why most states won't forgive felonies. Most. Some states do. But the state of Texas does not. They will expunge something that was dismissed. But if you plead guilty to anything that's a felony, it's stuck with you for a lifetime. We need to know these little things. We need to know if we need to identify ourselves just because the police walk up to us and say, let me have your ID. You don't have to do that. Unless you're in the commission of a crime or they have reason to believe that you're committing a crime. But it's all in the way you communicate. And again, we have to learn to circle our emotions, square up our passion, and speak in an intelligent tone. You would be surprised how it can make a difference in your life. And if you teach that to your babies, how it can make a difference in their lives. All that time I having the talk, you know, they used to have that storyline, we need to have the talk. What talk? We getting shot down and we didn't say nothing. We were handcuffed, laying on the ground, hands in the air, whatever the situation. My daddy used to tell us all the time, if you was born to burn, you ain't gonna drown. An accident death, you stay dead just as long. There's an old proverb that says, man, know thyself. Man is not agenda in that sense. It stands for mankind. But all men come from a womb man, a woman. And a nation can only rise as high as it views its woman. We so busy fighting each other, we don't realize it's a system that's silent weapons. That's why I start with silent weapons for quiet wars. It's military operation that's happening to us every day. And we laughing and talking about somewhere else. We don't understand the real story. We live in la la land. Most of us, even the most intellectual, because we receive animal husbandry training, docility training for animals. I can teach a lamb to jump through a ring of fire. So goes the herd and the sheeple. That's why the farmer has the cattle guard, because they know you're going to follow the leader and they'll lose all of the cattle. Boy, it's real simple. And KISS, I don't know if y'all use it wherever y'all from, but KISS, the greatest acronym, keep it simple. Stupid, sweetheart, sugar. Keep it simple. So now we're going to go to, let me see which one is the longest video. Because these videos are about 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that, I believe.
I put it back down.
Let me see. Now this video is kind of long. So let's go to this little short video. This one is not that long. This one is one that just recently came out. I thought this was very interesting.
We'll be calling the state for an
This one was real interesting. I just saw this one, I think, last night. Hi, Donald. Welcome. Glad you're here. From Ass Chat. Hey, DJ Vibes. I hope I'm saying y'all names right. I can mess them up. I try to get them right because I don't like to mess them up, but I can. Hi, Rachel. Yep, you're going to have to be on the replay. Thank y'all for coming. Be sure and hit the like button for me. Okay, now this one is real good. I saw this one, and this is a new page, District Trending. And it's the new Young Thug release footage goes viral. So let's see what it's about. I didn't look at the whole thing, but let's see what it's about, and then let me go back and get my music. Hold on a minute. Let me go back and get my music because I had cut it off when I was playing my videos. Thank y'all for coming.
Investigation on the YSL Rico trial. Today, new clips would YSL Rico trial. Today, new clips would go viral supporting facts of the case being corrupt. A tweet would end up sharing, "Watch the judge open her mouth here." Is she signaling DA Love to make an objection? Then she leads Love to keep going until she gets the objection right. What exactly is going on in Fulton County? Is this what our system has come to?
Do you appreciate that sitting here today, your lies have caused Yak
Objection.
tremendous amounts of
Improper
problems?
question. Objection improper. Vague speculation. relevance.
Sustained.
As there's already been a conspiracy that the new judge that has been placed into the YSL Rico trial is only there to help the prosecutors, as what she did next was very concerning. A tweet would share, "So it's okay for Adriane Love to show images to the jury underhandedly." As you can see, the judge is literally looking at Prosecutor Love, holding a piece of paper of evidence showing the jury for a few seconds. This is clear as day, showing them the evidence that would later end up being denied to be shown to the jury. But the jury already know they already saw it illegally. This is then when Thug's lawyers finally had enough. Miss Love would object again to Thug's lawyer.
Your Honor, objection.
Do you view that as a benefit?
Hang on.
Okay,
hang
I'm
on.
asking him if he views
I
that
know,
as
and
a
there's an
benefit.
objection on the floor, which I haven't been able to hear yet. So wait and let me hear
My
it and
apologies, Your
rule on
Honor.
So objection as to misrepresentation, vagueness, when the question is, do you think it's a benefit to you?
However, the funniest of it all was that even the judge was getting annoyed moments later of helping Prosecutor Love, as Love would try objecting again for the 30th time in an hour setting. This is then when the judge just had enough, told her to stop talking, and pretty much left.
But Ms. Love, your objection was sustained. So it's really all there is to it.
Your Honor, I think the main thing to it is that Mr. Sharp keep talking.
Ms. Love, I'm going to take a bathroom break, okay? I haven't had one for the last couple of times that everybody else has.
As higher-ups in the court system will be investigating the YSL Rico trial soon, resulting in Thug being released. To understand his release date, you first need to hear the judge flip-flopping on a mistrial decision, because once seeing her opinions drastically change from the start of the day to the end, you're gonna realize how corrupt this is. As at the beginning of the court day, it would be announced, judge denies the motion for mistrial, says she doesn't think that there was anything bad, but agrees that the questioning could have been confusing, and asks Miss Love to clarify.
What the line of questioning was, and so a valid objection, it remains sustained, but the motion for mistrial is denied. I am not giving any kind of instruction. You can just fix it by asking the next one.
As the judge would deny the mistrial at the beginning of the day, until realizing these prosecutors don't know what they're doing, as they would end up bringing Quindarius Zachary to the stand. He would end up opening his statement by literally hitting on an attractive investigator, and even asks her to be the one to supervise him at his hotel tonight.
For you to whichever hotel this is, they end up putting. Can it be what? I don't know whether it's going to be that particular investigator or not. It might be, it might not be. It's not going to be up to me.
The judge would think that it is funny at the beginning, but what happens next? You can tell that she starts to get annoyed. This is then when it would be reported, QZ says that he no longer wants his lawyer because he feels like he is working for them, the state. He said that he doesn't even think he needs a lawyer at all, and he'll be back on Monday without one.
You don't want that lawyer anymore. All right, well, let me say this. When you come back on Monday, it may be that you want a lawyer. You don't feel like you need any kind of lawyer whatsoever. So what if things change on Monday? All right.
As this is where the judge would finally have enough of the prosecutor's witness, kicking him off of the stand, telling him to practically get lost. But it would be this moment when Thug's lawyer would then submit another motion for a mistrial. Then the judge would reply using a lot of different words than what she said at the start of the trial day.
All right, I'm going to look back at what the transcript says. I mean, and Miss Love, you may, given that there's now a motion for mistrial on the floor, in assertion that you did things purposefully, you may respond to that.
I vehemently object to the mistrial. I vehemently object to any mistrial, and I beg the court to look at the transcript and see what I said right before I asked him the people that I just mentioned. And would ask that the court deems it appropriate that
Give me a moment, everybody, and let me acknowledge my Cash App that I received. I greatly appreciate it.
Your face. Just to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
out.
is how you do it. Thank you. Now let me give y'all the story of that one with me in the shower. Gilbert Arenas and Kwame Brown. This is basically the sector that I came in on, was with Kwame Brown. And they, used to talk about each other. They're peers, they're friends. They played ball together. And Gilbert was making fun of Kwame, so one day he was teaching him how to shower. And he had on a jogging suit, very nice jogging suit that he got in the shower and got wet. Well, when the guy started bullying me and all the people started making videos about me, they said I was so damn big, I couldn't touch my toes, I couldn't wipe my ass, I couldn't walk. They said I was restrained to the bed and stuck to the sheets, and they needed a bulldozer to pull me over and shit. So my sister treated me to a birthday at the Omni Hotel Dallas, which is a 5-star hotel. They said the hotel was old and had mold on the walls, but there was backsplash as they call it. But I said, let me do my own version of Gilbert's little parody that he did. And that's why you see me in the shower with my tiger gown on, showing the people that, old Toothless really can get up and move when she wants to. She doesn't do it often because she doesn't have to, but I can when I need to. And it was just funny. And so some guy, one of the content creators, made a little clip of me coming out the shower as his drop, and they laughed and laughed. And so then I made my own drop of my own video. And then they got mad because I made it and said that he needs to strike my page for my own video because I was copying. You have to turn these lemons, you got to turn them into lemonade. And I like mine sweet. So, I don't have no issues with people. And I don't have no problem with them having issues with me. But, it's a rapper got a song, get up off me, bitch, get up off me. I just teach them how to get up off me. Because I'm not going to bother them, and they're not going to bother me. And I have another channel. I don't have many subscribers, but that channel is just entertainment, unapologetically toothless, where I talk to them the way they talk about me. Well, I talk back on that channel. But on this channel, I came here because I have a mom and a dad. Both are deceased, but they did the best they could with the 8 children that they had. And they gave us an opportunity to live and to be all that we could be. With what we knew and what we had, we did our best. And the majority of us are retired. And mostly on disability. Has a lot to do with where you live. And we lived in a city, Dallas, Texas, where we had a packing house one place, a paper mill another place, Procter & Gamble right across the bridge. So we have all of these toxins and things in our neighborhoods. And then people wonder why we're sick. It's the conditions in which we live. And if you don't know that, and if you don't do anything about it, then I can't help you. All I can do is give you the keys that I give and hope that you hear what I say, and perhaps you'll have the conversation with somebody else, and whoever you're talking to may be interested and start doing the research. But change comes when you participate, because change is going to come whether you participate or not. But I heard in a quote one time, it's invigorating when you're a part of the change. It's devastating when change happens to you. So it's your choice. It's all about you, and I call it the you factor. You got to do it. Can't nobody do it for you. Let me get back to this video because I want y'all to see the rest of it. And I just heard the music on here. I don't know. This may be one like the one with Gaither that I did the other day with the first 48. You know, that was, I couldn't monetize it because A&E, they don't monetize their videos. So they allowed me to show it, and that's all I wanted to do was show it. Where she's pretending she doesn't want to be on camera because of whatever her reasoning. I would say because she knows that she is a dirty cop and she knows she's working security for that team, walking around there like she missed the big stuff. And I think that's the reason that she doesn't want to be shown. She don't want to be recognized because the world can see the nastiness in her speech. No matter how sensual and sexual she try to make it sound. And a lot of people think because they talk low that they're not nasty, and because they don't use profanity. It's a many ways to be nice nasty, and she exemplifies them all, in my opinion. And that's just one woman's opinion. But let me go on back to this video that I want y'all to finish seeing. Thank you so much for my Cash App. I truly appreciate it. And I'm that kind of person, so I'm not overdoing it or underdoing it. I just do it toothless way. That's just who I am. I had a lady to tell me that I need to do my show the way my audience wants. And unfortunately, I can't do that. I have to do it the way Toothless wants. That's why I came here. This is my business. And if I don't ever make a dime, I'm sure gonna hate that. But I tell you, I have some true people that have been good to me, and they give to me and they support me. They're gonna always come by and hit that like button. They're gonna come in and say hi, or they're gonna come in and stay. But I'm here to stay until I feel like I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm still here. So here we go, y'all. I don't call out names and amounts because when the people started bullying me, they would dox the people that gave to me and things like that. So I don't do stuff like that. I would just acknowledge you with a thank you. And you know who you are, and I appreciate it.
That such language is gross and all of the disparaging remarks made by counsel for the defendants are appropriate, that's one thing, but I'd ask that the court limit that type of behavior, which is, not becoming of officers of the court. I agree with that. It is not becoming.
She's not denying this one on the spot like she did at the beginning of the day, because it's very clear they have no idea what they're doing. But what truly won the mistrial over is when the judge started yelling at the prosecutor moments after, as the prosecutors didn't even have enough witnesses ready to take the stand for a full day. All they had was Quindarius Zachary, who lasted a total of 22 minutes.
One of the things I wanted to inquire of one of our investigators about their efforts to secure one of the witnesses and the difficulty that we have had with respect to that witness. I expect that witness will be coming in. It's the one that we've been discussing, but I think it's pertinent information.
Not right now. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you have a particular witness. What you have been instructed is to have enough witnesses to fill the day. Okay? So if one witness is difficult, then you need to have another one lined up. Let's get the jury, please.
As all they had was QZ from earlier. That's when the official report would be released. Breaking news, YSL attorney Max puts Fani Willis' office on notice that if they put Quindarius Zachary on the stand and he gets sick before cross-examination, then it is gonna be a mistrial.
It's gonna lead to me asking for a mistrial again. And the state is on notice at this point that by calling Mr. Zachary in this state and I don't know what his state is, but they seem to know. They are on notice that something could happen. And I'm not the one calling him to the stand, but if his direct testimony comes in or his prior statements come in and I don't have a chance to confront him about those lies, we are not going to have a fair trial. And I'm just putting it on the record now so everyone knows what my stance on that is.
However, this is when the trial would get scary. A report would share YSL judge admits the case is headed to mistrial, but yet she won't grant one.
All right, if we don't even know what's being said, then
We
I don't
do know
know.
what's being said, Your Honor. It is not.
This is a mistrial waiting to happen.
Your Honor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Judge, we started.
Let me just interject. One of the reasons they're not granting the mistrial, because they're laundering money, in my opinion, this is my opinion, through the ORCA funds. And Ashley Merchants is showing that daily because the DA's office won't release the Freedom of Information Act information. And the information she's trying to get is where is all of this money going? They all got, it was split $75 million and it expires December 31st, 2024. So it's split 4 ways. It went to the DA's office, to the sheriff's office, it went to the county clerk or whatever they call their clerk, and it went to the judiciary, which is all the courts. And they split up that money. So people want to know why the judge, vested in it. Because there's something in it for them. All of them. And nobody will make me believe different. Until Fani Willis can come up with those 20 cars that she paid for. And I believe it's in that video that I just took down a moment ago that shows I have the invoices where she purchased 20 cars, over $600,000 worth. But nobody can account for them. Now, she did 40 in all, I was told. But 20 of them, they can't account for. Then you got the sheriff getting Sprinter vans, Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans for himself. So these kind of things that people ought to be outraged about. But unfortunately for us, we are so indoctrinated. If it ain't no mess on somebody, then we don't want to do nothing about it. We just want to talk about it and laugh about it, but we don't want to act about it because as the people, we can definitely change things. But first, we got to get something in us so we'll know what to change. We can't do it not knowing. In order to play a game, you got to know the rules to the game to be able to win. You may never win, but if you play by the rules, the law of averages is going to give you an opportunity to win at some point or another. So just remember that.
As even the judge admits the case should be a mistrial, but she's refusing to grant it. And if anything, she's been helping out the prosecutors along with the trial. This makes the case easily corrupt, as what happened today in Senate court was unbelievable. A tweet would share, witness tells the DA she doesn't intimidate him and to stop trying to treat him like her child.
You can answer first and I will let you explain, but I need you to answer yes or no.
But could you stop yelling at me like I'm your child or something? I'm not your child.
You are not.
You talking aggressive to me. You don't intimidate me. All them guys over here. So if you would have came to me and asked me this, I'd have told you the same thing. What if they was in my face or not in my face? I'm not scared of them or you.
I don't want you to be.
Well, that's what
I love that he told her that. I had a program that I started and it was just me because my ex-husband, my second ex-husband, was in prison. And I started an organization and I started it out as Black Loved Ones in Prison. And then I changed it to just Loved Ones in Prison because my brother told me that I was limiting the help that I possibly could get or the people that I could help. And I helped any and everybody because, again, I only believe in one race, and that's the human race. So in my doing that, a lot of these women that work as probation officers and parole officers especially have these men that come to visit them every day because they have to report. Somebody got to report once a week, some once a month, some every 3 months, some every 6 months, some once a year. But the bottom line is these women be wearing these clothes that's too tight, too little, too much perfume, too much makeup, too much weave, too long of fingernails. But they sit in those offices with the doors closed with a convict who just came home from, doing what he did, stepping on 2 or 3 people, and they want to talk to them like they're children. And you can't do that. They don't care. So we have to learn how to communicate one with another. She was so bad on this day. I've been looking for this video so I can make some little IGs. And y'all can follow me on Instagram. I've been making little IGs and making a little headway on IG. I don't know how nothing work. I'm just a woman who don't know nothing about technology, who just jumped out here and decided I want to tell my story. I was inspired by a has-been that never had the opportunity to be, and he squandered it. But I realize he's in a lot of pain. So I don't think that he's a bad person. Again, I think he's a person that made bad decisions based on what has happened to him in his life. I try to see something good out of everybody that I talk about. I don't care what it is. I can find something in you that'll make you proud of you if you're not before we start talking. And a lot of people are not. A lot of us are hurting. And we don't have nobody we can share that with. And that's what I want to do, is open up the line of communication where a person can feel free. You don't have to talk to me, but be able to talk to somebody. And I sell journals, t-shirts, ink pens, keychains. And one of the things I always ask you to do is write. When you can't talk to nobody else, talk to yourself through a pen and paper. And don't worry about how you spell, or if you can't spell, or if you can't write good. Just do whatever you do. And you can do one or 2 things. You can keep it to see your growth, or you can burn it up and never, ever, ever think about it again once you empty the trash that's inside of you. And then forgive yourself. I ask everybody to do that. It's liberating, I promise.
You acting like it. That's what you acting like you're trying to pay.
So do you want me to bring my voice down? And I apologize
Don't
if it
holler at
sounds
me,
like
I ain't
I'm
your
yelling.
child. Could I take a break? Y'all talking.
Now, we've had so many breaks this morning. We really need to get through this.
As the prosecutors are currently being exposed, which would usually end in a mistrial for case corruption, but the judge is refusing. As this was confirmed in a viral clip that shares, Young Thug started laughing after YSL Woody tried to ask him if he had issues with Rich Homie Quan from the witness stand.
Yes, no, I don't recall. Did Thug have an issue with Rich Homie Quan bringing members of IFCAN to his apartment?
Doug, did you have issue with Rich Homie?
I'm asking you for what you told the police.
And I'm answering you. I just told you several times. I tell the police anything.
Okay. Do you recall talking about...
Which obviously is not allowed. Young Thug was allegedly in tears when Woody would scream across the courtroom asking him this, and he didn't even get in trouble at all. If you know anything about a court case, when a prosecutor brings a witness to the stand, like they did with YSL Woody, they are supposed to teach him what he is and is not allowed to do. Yelling across the courtroom is supposed to not be allowed. But this even ended up going viral online. Then, 3 days before the passing of Rich Homie Quan, we would end up seeing Quan speak about YSL Woody becoming a snitch in the YSL trial, and even called him a liar.
What do you feel about his statements being said about him basically up your dad's barbershop?
What is a liar? The barbershop did get up, but it wasn't like, I don't want to talk much to it, but it wasn't like he has over exaggerated it, because the same day the barbershop got it was up and running. So it couldn't have been like what he said it was. So we're gonna hold that down. Shout out to Woody. But niggas know.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
As we would then even see YSL Woody react to Rich Homie Quan calling him a liar.
You know, your trial's going viral. On the trial, you said you and Threat was sliding and y'all shot Rich Homie Quan barbershop.
Yeah, like Rich Homie said, I was just lying.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Rich Homie Quan passing? Yeah.
It's sad, man. It's sad. Rich Homie had a lot of potential. You feel me? Like, he just made the wrong choice in the past. Where it could have that hurt his career. And he didn't have to make that choice. But sometimes people gotta learn how to stand up for themselves. Don't be intimidated by no group of people. Cause them group of people, man, they ain't no for real. Feel me? That's why they a group of people. All he had to do is stay by himself. He would have been successful. He would have been bigger than what he was.
But Lil Woody is extremely important, and he's actually going to be the main reason that Young Thug gets released. As to understand when Young Thug's release date is, you need to understand that YSL Woody did snitch on Young Thug and YSL members in 2021. However, the video of him doing so was never supposed to be shared online to the public, but it would eventually be leaked. This is then when it was reported. Today, he testifies that he believes the state is the one who leaked it in order to pretty much force him to testify, since everyone thinks that he's a snitch anyway.
Do you know who put that video on the internet during this before this trial started?
I don't know who did it.
Do you have a belief who did it?
Yes.
And who are you referring to who did that?
Objection. Relevant to we believe.
Goes to his state of mind.
Speculation.
Goes to his state of mind on the conversations that he's referring to. Puts it in context. Who do you believe put out the videos on the internet of your interrogation, or the video?
The state.
And by the state, the same people you've been referring to?
I can't say specific if it was them, but the state did it.
Okay. And what did that have an effect on you or your family when you believe the state of Georgia put out your interrogation?
Well, they believe I'd be, if everybody say I'm a snitch, you know, this and then third, they believe that I'd be like, okay, and just do what they want me to do.
That there's a mention in the last.
As with Woody hinting towards it being the state prosecutors that leaked the video of him snitching online, he got extremely angry. He ended up revealing that he believes it was their plan all along. If they made Lil Woody look like a snitch in one small crime, then they can just force him to become a full snitch in all crimes that YSL ever committed. So YSL Woody agreed. He signed the plea deal, saying that if he gives the prosecutors information, he would end up not facing any jail time and would be home free. However, what the police didn't know, everything YSL Woody allegedly snitched on was a lie. So the prosecutors would want to get revenge. They would start asking the most ridiculous questions to Woody, making him get angry.
I can't sit here and tell y'all nothing. I don't know what y'all want me. I don't know what y'all looking for. I didn't see nobody. I didn't see nobody rob nobody. I didn't see none of these boys do anything. I did some stupid things. I got caught for the stupid things that I was doing, and I just went from there. Like, I didn't. And then y'all got me up here, and I done told y'all before y'all put me up here, y'all can't talk me out like a Tuesday or something. You can't talk me in the streets. And I told you, like, I lied. And I told you that. And then y'all still brought me in here.
Isn't it true that you did not want to testify because you don't want to deal with the reality of being labeled a snitch?
Miss Hilton, I've been labeled a snitch way before I had to come to trial when y'all linked that video out to the social media. So the world look at me as a snitch no matter what goes on to this day. But me coming here, like, I have put my faith in God's hands, and I come here and I let it be known. I guess got no choice but to be letting know to y'all now that I have told y'all time after time that I done lied.
As the prosecutors have barely any evidence against Young Thug because of Woody lying, but they keep bringing Woody in just to try to bring up something they can use against Young Thug because no one else wants to rat him out. But it seems like Lil Woody finally had enough and he would eventually snap.
And my only priority was, by any means necessary, to protect them with my whole Judge, I get minute because they drive me crazy.
Yeah, take a minute, take a breath.
Keep telling y'all,
Stay here. Come here. Stay on the stand. Take some breaths. Calm down.
And once he finishes his breath around the state, we conclude our questioning, Your Honor.
As Lil Woody got so angry, he needed to stand up and walk away. This is then when it would be announced Woody is getting tired of explaining why he told on Young Thug over and over again.
Why did you ask for Thug to pay your bond after you had told on them in the June 10th interview?
I didn't tell on them. I was going through a phase in my life. Like I told you before, and I told you in the back, I made it all up. I sat right there and said whatever came to the top of my head, that I pieced some things together and said what I said. If you listen to both of them calls, they contradict each other. If you listen to the interview, you hear what the police keep saying. And that's why I put everything on Thug. The man ain't had nothing to do with my stupidity. I'm sitting right here today telling y'all the truth, and y'all still somebody here playing with this lady. Like I told y'all, I made it up. I put it on him. Okay. I'm not scared of nobody. Nobody forced me to say none of this stuff. This is not right.
Okay. After.
As with the judge starting to realize all of the sneaky tactics the prosecutors have been doing, with them also realizing Woody lied about all of the evidence against Thug, the chances of Thug being released are extremely high. This is then when the founder at 300 Entertainment and the head of music for Google and YouTube would end up vouching to the judge for Young Thug to receive his bond.
Hi, my name is Leor Cohen. I was the founder of 300. I'm the global head of music for YouTube and Google, and I want to speak on behalf of Jeffrey, who I've known extremely well since I signed him. He's been a person that cares deeply about his community, his family, and his colleagues. And I could say that I've had numerous conversations with him at length about how he wanted to invest in building a recording business, studios, a record company in a very troubled part of Atlanta to bring economic growth. I don't believe that he's a flight risk. Whatsoever. He cares too much about his family, his colleagues, his art, and his reputation for that.
Lawyers on the side of Young
It looks like our little buffering does not want to stop tonight. I don't know what causes that. We supposed to have the best Wi-Fi, AT&T, and I bought an Ethernet, but it's in another room, but it's supposed to cover the house, but I still get this buffering, and I used to, well, I knew at one point people were doing a lot of flagging on my videos, but now I don't know if that's it or if it's just the Wi-Fi itself with a, low signal. But I want to say that I have one other video, but I'm not going to show it because it's just buffering too much. But I just want to thank everybody for coming and being a part of the Tiger's Den. I appreciate you whenever you come by. Don't feel obligated. And if it's anybody who does not want a wrench, they could just put in the chat that don't give me no wrench. But I give wrenches for loyalty. I appreciate people coming and giving me their time. And most of the people that come really will stay. But there are a lot of people that just come and go, but they support. And for me, that's support. And so sometimes I just may give you a wrench, but you don't have to work for it. I'm not paying nobody. This ain't your job. You do what you want to do. I trust you at this point until you show me something different. That's how the people that got my wrenches got them. But if you don't want one, some people don't want other people to know that they be in a chat and stuff. And I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. You're not obligated to show up every time I go on. But I'm normally on Sundays and on Wednesdays unless I just decide not to go on, or I forget. Sometimes I have what they call sometimers disease, where sometimes I remember and sometimes I don't. So I just ask that anybody that come, if you would hit the like button, if you hear anything that you like or whatever, if you would just go in the comment section and do, you know, an emoji. You don't even have to write, you know, if you don't feel like writing, hit an emoji, because it doesn't matter how small or how large our, you know, audiences are. It's quality over quantity. Although those numbers look good and I wished I had a little more, but it ain't much more because I can't give a lot. I can only give what I can give. So I appreciate every single person. Cannot believe I have now 1,800. Again, thank you, Catnot Williams, because she's a true supporter. A lot of people, I've been in their chats. I think I told people the other day I have about 20 memberships that I've canceled. I've been in people chats, supported them, super chat and all that, and they don't even come by and just say hi. Cat will come and hang out in your chat. We'll communicate in your chat, and she will shout you out. And that's, but I love her countenance. You know, she just seems like a beautiful person. And that's the same with Jeffrey. It's something about that young man is special. And I mean special in a beautiful way. He seems very humble. Thug may not mean truly humble under God, but it sure looks like it on him. He seems very humble. And no matter what he's done in his youth, we all had a youth. But what he has done as a man has been something to be desired. And we need to make sure that the people know that he has done great things. He was targeted for a reason. And there are all kind of rumors out there about the DA. They call her Fani Willis getting loose on Grey Goose. Anybody can get it. I don't know if y'all know L.A. Pink, but she is an advocate in Atlanta. I don't think I dropped her link, but I got to put it in here because she's fantastic, L.A. Pink. And they're called street groomers. They feed the homeless. They have a store where they can come and get clothes. I don't know if they have to pay for the clothes or if the clothes are just at a reasonable price. I don't know that situation, but I do know that they have it. She's on Instagram a lot. They do a lot of great things. They get out there and they have their signs. She goes to every commissioner's meeting, the election board's meeting. Trust me, if you all start looking at those meetings, because she had me start looking at those meetings, seeing her there and speaking, and it's about 6 or 7 of them that's there all the time. And I want to make sure that I drop her link in here and you guys can go and subscribe to her. She's putting in the work. She's literally putting in the work. She and her husband, they started that organization and they work side by side. And they got that Natalie Hall woman up out of the commissioner's seat. The one that cost the city, what was it? How many millions? 1.5 million for harassing the guy that used to work for her, her assistant. He was fine as wine. Nice looking young man. And she couldn't let him go. But he was tired of her and he wanted to get out of that role that he had allowed himself to get into. So it happened to men just like it happened to women. It happened to all of us. But I'm with you, babe, Mr. Big Stuff. Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Stuff? That's what they can call Gaither. Yeah, she thinks she's Mr. Big Stuff. I think she's Rico. Because I haven't seen no other sign of Rico other than what they're doing to these young men. And many of them have paid for their crimes and have been brought into this on fictitious reasons. You know, we thought that if we got a chance, we always claim what the European is doing to us in the good old boy system. But if we get an opportunity to get in, we'll make a difference. Well, we see what kind of difference we made. And what breaks my heart more than anything is these young men are looking at women that would remind them of their mom or their grandmother, their aunt, their sister, their cousins, their friends, their mates. But it's destruction anyway. So I ask everybody to come back. I'll be back on Wednesday. And Dinos, I saw what you said, and I'll talk about some places I've been and my thoughts on them. I've been to a few places, not many, but a few. And you know, when you grow up in the hood, in the ghetto, in the heart of the ghetto, in the projects, and you grow up and get a job where you make a decent amount of money. It's not a lot of money, but it's more than most people. I retired 13 years ago making over $60,000 a year. So that means something in our neighborhood. And it's something to teach the young people that they can do it too. I'm going to go out. You know, I always end it with the greatest love of all, but I'm going to play Family Affair because, y'all, this is a family affair. And we all really need to become family because that's what we are. We're one big family, broken up in nations. And we need to learn how to set aside our differences, whatever we think they may be, for a cause. It's got to be something that's worth you giving up something for. And if it's nothing else than freedom, I don't know what it is, because we ain't free. Freedom ain't free. It costs somebody something. So we need to try to come together and encourage one another. I really would love to be able to talk to fathers who's fighting for their children. I've helped several young men research and help them learn how to prepare their own documents to go to court to get their rights for visitation. I don't know how to get rid of child support, but there is a guy that's on YouTube that teaches that. But what I can just teach you with the laws that we have, how to operate and get what you want. I can show you how to do that. I can't give you legal advice and I can't represent you, but I can show you how to research and we can read them together and figure it out. And I really would like to talk to more men because they have us believing that men don't love their children and don't want their children. Because, you know, the old saying is, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Well, in today's age, it could be mama's maybe. Especially with the hospitals, children being stolen, swiped. It's just so much going on. We need each other. And we're stronger together than we are apart. So I'm going to leave with 3 songs. I mean, it just touched my heart. I Love a Mother's Love by Kim. But I be smacking my ass off in this song. I didn't know I was smacking so much at the end, but I was. A Mother's Love. We all want it. We all need it. A family affair. And the children are our future. So enjoy the music or say goodbye. But have a beautiful, beautiful night and a productive and fun beginning of your week. I'm gonna, when I finish this, go and look at, I'm gonna go to China tonight. It was a good movie, just came on right before I came on. And I'm gonna say I'm leaving the Tiger's Den. Good night. In a mother's love, you will find everything. Everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. In a mother's love, you are free to dream because 'cause she sees what you can be. In the mother's love, you see the sun, enough for two, but you're one. In the mother's love, you can feel something hurts. You can heal. Yes, a mother's love is real. You grow because she knows to let you go. Yeah, mama. Mama, mama, mama. Mother's love. Mother's love. Yeah. All right. A mother's love. And a mother's love never lies. She believes that you can fly with all of her might. A mother's love. Yay, mama. Did you know that mental health is a family affair? It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, one child grows up to be somebody that just loves to learn, and another child grows up to be somebody you just love to burn. Mama loves the both of them. You see, it's in the blood. Both kids are good to mom. Blood thicker than the mud. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Oh, a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Nobody wants to blow. Nobody wants to be left out. You can't leave because your heart is there. But you can't stay because you've been somewhere else. You can't cry because you look broke down, but you're crying anyway because you're all broke down. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. It's a family affair. Well, it's a family affair. Hey, hey.
Your face. You got to remove the excess water. Now she's coming
This
out.
is how you do it.
Thank you.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love.